Hello, everybody, and welcome to the York County, South Carolina, not Pennsylvania or anyplace else, Democratic Party podcast and YouTube show, otherwise known as YCDP TV. I'm Gary Pierce, coming to you from my little TV studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Fort Mill, South Carolina, in the shadow of Charlotte and the foot of Mount Belzoni. I'll explain the Mount Belzoni someday. I say that on all the podcasts I do. And we are at episode 2 already. Ryan Stevens for York County Council. I'm a big fan of enigmatic podcast titles, and this one is not one of those. There's a special election coming up for York County Council, District 6. Ryan Stevens is the Democratic candidate, and he is here to talk about it. Ryan, welcome to the pretty much brand new York County Democratic Party TV podcast. Glad to have you here.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be, I think, the first candidate to be on this new forum that we have in the York County Democratic Party. Yep. Excited to be the first.
We'll try everything out on you and see how it works, and then we'll do it right next time. Right. There is a special election coming up in York for York County Council for District 6, and you're the candidate for it. And we're certainly going to talk about that a lot, but I think right off the bat, we need to identify who can vote in this special election. The election is January 3rd, and we're in the middle of early voting for it now, I think. That's going to go on this week, and next week it ends the Friday before the election. The voting is only at the government building in the town of York, which I believe is not actually in District 6, kind of off the edge of it.
It is not in District 6. Okay. It is it's in downtown York. I spoke to an individual today who was on her way to go vote for me. So it's exciting and it's fun. District 6 encompasses all of Riverwalk. It goes down basically Celanese, Mount Gallant. Part of the northern border is the lake. And then we have the cutouts towards within the city limits of Rock Hill as well.
Okay, so you get a little bit of Rock Hill.
Mm-hmm. Yep, good bit of it too.
But no Fort Mill.
No Fort Mill.
Is Tigakay in or out?
Out.
So if you want to know if you are actually in District 6, this is the place to go. This is the South Carolina Election Commission scvotes.gov website. And on that website, you can click on voters, or actually hover over voters. I suppose you can click on it. And then down there is check your voter registration. And then they're going to want to know what county you're in. So, we're going to be down here in York. Your name, date of birth, and here's the part that puts people off a little bit. It's the social security number. They want the last 4 digits of the social. So some people feel reluctant to give that information out. I think I can tell you that the county already knows it. The Board of Elections already knows your social security number. You're not giving something away. You're just helping them figure out who you are so they can provide you with that voter information. So I'm gonna fill this out without it being on the screen so we can see what it looks like once I get there. I'll click the little button that says, I am not a robot. Here's my voter information. And it tells me that I am in County Council, District 7. I am not one of your constituents.
You have Deb Collinger-elect. She is Councilwoman-elect, so she'll be there next January.
Yeah, and we didn't even have a Democratic candidate.
No.
In our going for our district seat, so it wasn't part of our election. But if it says County Council 06, then they are one of the voters for you.
Yes.
So now we know who we're talking to. But people who are outside District 6 although they can't vote for you, they can support you.
Yes.
And
I always say money speaks 1,000 ways. Money does help. I didn't realize how much it helped until I started running for office. And so that always helps. I was calling people for an hour today myself, just speaking to voters. We also have a text bank going on. The state Democratic Party is also helping out a lot, reaching out to voters and ensuring that they know there is an election coming up and that we have a choice in this election, because a lot of elections we don't have a choice, like in District 7. For me, looking at the data points and how even in the last Rock Hill municipal election, we had a 7% turnout. So it was about 1,800 people came out to vote last February for the city municipal election. So what the turnout is going to be like 2 days after a major holiday is a big guess for anybody. And so, so that is where we can come in, fly under the radar. My opponent is self-funding his campaign. Me, I'm very grassroots. I'm doing a lot myself and ensuring that every Democrat in this district really knows they have a choice.
This is your Facebook page. That seems to be the primary method for getting in touch with you. I don't see a website.
Yes, my website is ryanforcountycouncil.com.
It didn't come up in a Google search. When I searched your name, Ryan Stevens, York County Council, et cetera, this never surfaced. So I don't have a question. It looks like you're available to answer questions. Okay, so it's good.
I am all day.
Yeah, it's good to know that.
As much as my wife doesn't want me to, because we have 3 children, and it is it's been a lot running a campaign and all that.
Even for this office, I mean, you're not running for governor, but it's still something that's
right,
keeping you busy. Why is there a special election? I talked about this with John Kralevich on episode 1, but I think we need to go over why there's a special election for county council. Why wasn't this taken care of last November?
That is I call the $1 million question, and currently the seat is empty. Brandon Guffey, the previous county council individual from this district, he has been elected to state representative. On November 1st, before the midterm elections, he announced his resignation and made it official that he was resigning this district seat to focus in on being elected into the state house. He was very confident that he was going to win, and he did. And so now he is state representative elect. Per state law, we need to fill this vacancy on county council, and that means we have a special election X amount of days after the resignation of the individual who was holding the seat previously.
For the county council position, was there anyone running against him for county council?
So the last time the seat was up for re-election was in 2020. So this seat would be up every presidential year.
Yeah. So this seat wasn't open, and it wasn't something you could have run for in November at all.
Right. Correct.
Okay. So that answers some more questions about it. So there's going to be 2 years left in their 4-year terms. There'll be 2 years left in this term.
Yes.
And then if you win, you'll be the incumbent and you'll run again, presumably.
Correct.
But won't predict your future entirely, but that's typically the way it goes.
Right.
Okay. So why did you decide to run? What put this bug in your bonnet?
So for me, I've always been politically attuned or very politically aware of, everything happens, especially at the local level. And us as Democrats, we always focus on a presidential election and not these smaller seats that, have more purse control over the purse strings at the local level. I looked at the posting that our Chairman Kralevich posted on Facebook, and I talked to some friends, and one of my friends he said I should run. And so I talked to him for great lengths, and this would be not an easy win, but a high probability that a Democrat could win this seat because of such a low turnout. And for me, I have 3 children, and I look at them, and I love living here in York County. I love living here in Rock Hill. I've made it a home since 2007. And I want a voice to be heard at the local government level that everyone has a chance to be heard. I want to make sure that everyone in the LGBTQ community has a voice on county council. Every Black person has a voice on county council. Every community needs a voice on county council. And I felt for so long that people are being overlooked. People are not being heard and seen, and that we have these deals for billions of dollars and tax-free areas and all this stuff. And I just felt, what about for us, the middle class individuals? Where are tax breaks, or where are safe roads to drive on, for goodness sake? We are one of the fastest growing counties in the state of South Carolina, and it's time that we take a hard look at what are we doing for the future, and what kind of investments can we look towards to continue that growth, but at a measured pace. But also, how can we get into Charlotte other than I-77? Because coming from Rock Hill, we have two bridges currently, over Cherry Road and the I-77 bridge, or you can go through York and come up the back way. But why can't we look hardly at infrastructure, ensure that our hard and soft infrastructure is well funded? We all know these roads are just some of the, they're terrible.
They're terrible, yes.
And it's going to cost money, but at the same time, it's costing us money as the drivers replacing tires or wear and tear on our vehicles. So at what point do we say, let's start investing more into our infrastructure, but also let's look to 21st century ideas? Why don't we have a light rail system into Rock Hill, into York County? There was plans in 2007 to do a rapid bus line from downtown Rock Hill to the light rail station in Pineville. So, of course, everything changed after the crash of '08, but where is county council going to make the hard decisions and say, let's invest into something for the future? Because right now the system is barely hanging on. We all know 77 is at a point of where it's not going to be able to handle the amount of traffic that is coming into York County.
Yeah. Earlier this year, they closed the bridge, part of the bridge over the Catawba River. And that illustrated to me, and I'm a relatively new resident, I've been here about 2 years, and that illustrated to me how limited the availability is of avenues getting in and out of. Fortunately, I live north of the Catawba River, but for everybody else in the county who lives south, there's two bridges that cross the Catawba River for miles. Mm-hmm. And and that seemed bizarre to me. And one of the things I realized when I moved down here is, well, South Carolina is the low tax state, and that is one of the ways we enjoy our low taxes is by terrible roads and lack of infrastructure. So there we go. What is it about the council that you want to see happen? Well, just see happen or happen differently than it's been going on?
A lot of people don't know what county council does. So basically, county council really governs a lot of the unincorporated areas of the county. So a large swath of Fort Mill, of course, Western York County as well. And so we have the county council has the sheriff's department to oversee and protect the citizens that are living in there. Baxter is in an unincorporated part of Fort Mill. How is county council protecting and serving those individuals, ensuring, look at TGK, they just bought out Blue Water Granite System, and ensuring that individuals have clean drinking water and have sewer systems. County council is also in talks with the south side of Rock Hill and the Clinton College connection in wanting to invest money into the Clinton College Connect program down there. The county council does a lot with infrastructure as a whole. If schools need money, because our property taxes in the state of South Carolina does not go to our education, we need impact fees. And so right now I know the York School District just were denied impact fees, and I hear rumblings of Fort Mill maybe going through another impact fee study, or increase due to them needing to build another school. So that is, in a nutshell, what county council does. Also ensuring that money is spent wisely. I believe that money has been spent wisely. Other than the fact that there is a gaping hole off of 77 here in Rock Hill, filled with a skeleton of a building, I think that was a poor investment. But
that was that Charlotte Panthers thing.
Yeah, that thing. And so I'm not in the litigation or the executive sessions of what goes on behind closed doors, but I will say this, that again, people are tired of these corporations getting tax-free deals while we are just struggling to make a living and struggling on our roadways and getting to work. And how can we invest? How can we bring businesses here to York County so people don't have to go into Charlotte as well? Just be that voice of progress as well. My opponent is running on this conservative ideological platform, and he's just going to represent one small segment of the population. However, I want to represent everybody in District 6 as well as the whole of York County as well.
Yeah, when you have a seat on the county council, the whole county is your purview.
Yes.
What's your experience with council? Have you attended meetings? Have you spent much time with them, watching what's going on?
Yeah, I was just at one last night. They meet the third Monday of every month. And they're fun meetings to go to.
I'll bet.
You get to see how our government works and how the interaction between council persons are. They all don't agree 100% on every topic. And just like our family members or our, friendships, we don't all agree. And there's all these different viewpoints and how they get to a consensus and how they move the council forward as well. But at the same time, what has it done for us? That's my question. And just listening to how it functions and how it works, and some of the questions I think could have been asked differently with council. One in particular, they just passed a ordinance. So in order to panhandle or ask on street corners for money, you now have to have a permit. So my question would have been, are we criminalizing the poor and those that are unhoused in our communities? So if they don't have a permit, so then they will either be charged or face another fee in which they don't have the money for. So how are we going to help the unhoused in York County? Because according to the sheriff, there are over 50 unhoused encampments in York County,
which most people don't know anything about.
Right.
John Kralevich in the first episode had mentioned that most of the issues that the York County Council takes up are not particularly political, that there's a lot of just infrastructure and ordinary business to be done. And so it's, I guess, sort of a non-partisan position with a partisan attachment to running to it. But it doesn't sound like that's the feeling that you're giving off.
Potholes are not Republican or Democrat. I mean, you can ask a Republican, they'll probably say it's a Democrat, but at the end of the day, people want stuff done. And my question is, what has been done for the people of York County from the council to relieve us from some of these, the massive growth that we have faced? And also, where is the affordability of housing? That is, to me, a non-political issue. We look at Greenville County. Their county passed an affordable housing ordinance. So if like 20% of your new build is affordable, they'll give you fee and move taxes for this project. And for me, I believe that the county government should be looking out for its everyday citizens. And my biggest voice will be for these everyday people that feel like government has kind of left them behind.
Let's find out a little bit more about Ryan Stevens. What is your background? Are you a South Carolina native, or are you like me, a carpetbagger moving in from the north?
I am a product of the Great Migration that happened, I think early mid 2000s. In 2007, I moved down here. I left home at 18 to attend a small ministry school in Fort Mill called Morning Star. I met my wife there. We got married in 2011. So shortly after we got married, we just aligned differently with the organization, had some changes of heart. And I believe after going there for so many years, it was an eye-opening experience to a totally different world that people don't understand.
What is Morning Star?
Morning Star is a evangelical mega ministry based in Fort Mill in the old PTL Jim and Tammy Faye Baker location in the Heritage USA.
Oh, it's where that giant monstrosity of an empty building is.
Yes, and
I can see that out my back door.
Yes, and the pastor has been featured on Right Wing Watch a lot. So
you went there for a while and then
migrated to the left.
Yeah.
Yes.
Learn something different about yourself.
Very much, and for me, I look back at the days that I was conservative. I was a Republican. I mean, my son was held by Mitt Romney, and I had this awakening that what am I standing for? I want to be on the side of ensuring progress is being held and looking at where the association that I was part of and how it impacted people. And I just, at the end of the day, when it comes to my faith that I hold very privately and very dear, it's what would Jesus want of us? And how do we as Christians continue to spread the love of the gospel to individuals that may not look like me? And so that's kind of where I morphed into a more of a very liberal individual, to say the least, is that I am wanting to ensure that voices are heard, because that's important and that's what is needed in today's society, that the marginalized are often the voices of the prophetic voices of the future, as I've heard it said before, but also the beliefs that I believed in, that I was challenged with these beliefs. And so that's what kind of made me evolve, so to speak.
All right. So I get an idea of where you have come from. Can we learn a little bit more about you beyond the political background? Where do you work and what have you done?
Yeah, I work for a major manufacturer. They're based in Greenville, South Carolina. I have been here about 2.5 years. I'm in the accounting department, so I make sure all the bills are paid.
I'm thinking that would be a very useful thing to have on the county council in terms of experience.
Yes,
because we all like to plan big things and then being responsible for seeing how we're going to pay for them. Well, that's harder work.
Right, and finding the appropriate funding for those things, and everybody wants funding from the government. And so I have 3 kids. They are all under the age of 10, and it's 2 boys and a girl.
So you're doing this to escape.
Yeah.
Okay,
no.
sorry.
No,
didn't mean to put you on the spot on that.
No. My wife and I, we had a long discussion and we decided not to feature them in the campaign just because of their ages. And it's a whole different world campaigning, and especially in this weird climate that we're in. And especially for this race, it's a different race, I feel like, than I did when I was helping other candidates before the November election. I have been in Rock Hill for a number of years now. We purchased a home in 2020, so right in the heart of the pandemic. And then I quickly, shortly after I bought a house, I was laid off from an employer that I was working with for over 5 years. So it makes you really appreciate and understand that there's people struggling out here and wondering where their next paycheck is going to come in from. And so my family, we have experienced that. I'm not rich by any means of the imagination. I'm not self-funding my campaign like other individuals are. And this is totally a grassroots campaign to ensure that voices are heard on county council, to make sure that we have a council that works for the people, that believes in the Constitution and for liberty. And so that's kind of me. I always am one to speak up, always one to ensure that voices are heard, and also one to always look at humans and look at humanity and the complexity of nature and how things currently are.
I think that sounds like something we can also use on the council. Compassionate accountant.
Yes.
There's your political tagline, the compassionate accountant. Well, okay, maybe not off the top of my head. Is there anything else that you think that the voters in District 6 and the rest of the folks here in York County need to know about you? The open-ended question that always happens at the end of an interview.
Right. People just need to know that we can win this. And part of the reason why I'm running is to ensure, like I said, time and time again, like, we need to have a common sense voice on council. For so long, it has been the status quo. It's been the same thing year after year. People just kind of forget about it in the back of their heads of what the hell county council does. And every voter, regardless of their political ideology or their political preference, knows what your money is doing, what our money is going towards. People need to know what their government does for them. Are we happy with how the current trajectory of county council has done things the past 5 years, making a deal that just went sideways? And we have two government agencies, the city of Rock Hill and the county of York, not coming together when they are spending useless money, especially right now in litigation, when we should be focused on ensuring our tax dollars are being well spent and ensuring people are taken care of in our community and that our community can work together. And that's what I want to do, is continue to bring a consensus, but bring progress along with it. We're going into 2023, and I feel I'm not going to be just a seat filler. I want to be on county council. I know my opponent, who attended, I think, 2 meetings since September. Does he really want to work for the constituents of District 6 and the rest of the county?
Good question. If he hasn't showed up, if he hasn't been there, you got to wonder what his motives are.
Yes.
The predecessor, the guy that left the seat, was in for less than 1 full term and then ran for state house?
Yes.
Do you have political ambitions beyond county council?
Beyond county council, no. I will say that outright. I do not want to run for a higher office. I would like to serve the remainder of this term, which would be again up in 2024. And then I would have to run again and seek a full term. I would like to seek a full term to county council, so it would be a total of 6 years that I would be on council, and then consider if I run again for county council. But right now, my main focus, and I will tell you straight as I can, there is no higher office in me that I can, that it's not a possibility.
Okay, so your interest, your dedication it's local.
Yeah, it's local. It all happens here in York County.
All right. So the special election is on Tuesday, January 3rd. We are in as we record this on Tuesday, December 20th. We are in the middle of 2 weeks of early voting. What's the location for early? Well, the location for early voting is the York County Government Building,
yes,
downtown downtown, if I can say downtown, the town of York.
Yep.
It's got
Yep.
a little business district, and then just south of that, there's the government complex, county courthouse.
They have a good pizza joint down there too.
I'll give that a try. Government building, and that's where drinking liberally for the town of York happens on the first Thursday of each month, I think. Or well, there's a drinking liberally in Rock Hill, Fort Mill.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I'm not sure which is which. One of them is the first Thursday, and one just moved to the third Thursday, and now I can't remember which is which.
I believe it's the York that moved to the third Thursday.
Yeah, but if you want to get together with some like-minded, progressive people here in York County, it's a little hard to find, and also a little dangerous to go seeking amongst your friends, because you may discover you have friends that have strong political opinions you didn't know about, and maybe you're better off everybody not quite knowing, and you can all stay friends. But here you can find like-minded people. And the drinking liberally groups, I've enjoyed going to visit with them. I haven't been to the one that's closest to me, that is at the Mercantile in Rock Hill. I haven't been to that one yet. I keep having conflicts, but I've been to the one over in the town of York, which is about a 45-minute drive from me. It's a fun drive.
Yeah,
I've been there a couple times and met some great people. So
yeah,
good places to go. Anyway, that's where early voting is. On election day, January 3rd, where do people go vote?
they can vote at their normal precincts. So wherever they voted in November for the midterm elections, they can vote on January the 3rd. They will have all the precincts locations open.
Yeah, and once again, if you go look at your My Voter info, it's going to tell you where from the MySC Votes website. It'll tell you where your local precinct is, and then you would not vote in the town of York. You vote locally on election day. But I would say go vote early. I think we should stop calling it early voting and just call it voting.
Yeah.
I mean, to get away from the idea that there's something different about voting, except maybe for the location. Let's just call it voting. I'm going to start that trend. We'll see how successful I am in getting it adopted. We'll start locally. We'll start here in York County. We'll just call it voting in York County, and then we'll make it a nationwide thing. So Ryan Stevens, candidate for District 6, York County Council. Election day, January 3rd.
Yes.
And thank you very much for being our first candidate, our guinea pig candidate here on the YCDP TV, York County Democratic Party podcast, YouTube TV show. Still figuring out just exactly what we are. And wave goodbye to everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
And let me stop the recorder.